They said it would never happen. They said the bloodline was unbreakable. They said family always comes first in WWE. But what happens when family is destroyed right before your eyes? And you're the one holding the weapon that did it. On December 18th, 2023, during a high-stakes main event on Monday Night Raw in Phoenix, Arizona, Roman Reigns, the tribal chief and the head of the table, experienced a moment that would forever redefine professional wrestling's most dominant faction. Roman, who has dominated WWE storylines for nearly a decade, was caught on live television in a raw, unfiltered breakdown. Not tears of scripted triumph or storyline drama, but genuine human emotion as he watched his cousin, Jey Uso, suffer an injury so catastrophic it may end his career. Jey Uso's collapse, when WWE ignored the warning signs. The WWE Universe witnessed something unprecedented. The most dominant champion in the company crumbling in front of 20,000 screaming fans. The roar of the arena failing to mask the anguish on his face. And the worst part? This could have been prevented. Medical reports, injury histories, and repeated warnings had all signaled that Jey Uso was on borrowed time. WWE executives, creative teams, and the medical staff were fully aware that he was one bump away from permanent damage. Yet the show went on, cameras rolled, and the consequences were devastating. The accident and its aftermath. The match itself was meant to be a classic showcase of the Bloodline versus Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens, a bout designed to cement Roman's dominance and elevate Jey's role as the conflicted loyal cousin. Behind the scenes, however, Jey had been wrestling with a partially torn rotator cuff for 8 grueling months. For 8 months, he had been medicated with injections, painkillers, and constant encouragement to push through. He had reported severe pain on at least 17 documented occasions, each time accompanied by medical recommendations for rest or surgery. Yet every single warning was overruled, because storylines, ratings, and merchandise revenue were prioritized over his health. On the night of December 18th, Jey approached Roman in the locker room. "I don't think I can do this anymore," he said. Roman's response, "Just this one match, brother. After tonight we'll figure it out," would haunt him for the rest of his life. He trusted the company to protect his family, and that trust was about to be shattered. The bell rang, and 20,000 fans were on their feet. Cody and Kevin entered to thunderous applause, followed by Roman and Jey. From the outset, subtle cues indicated something was wrong. Jey was favoring his left shoulder, masking pain behind his trademark energy and charisma. The match proceeded with technical excellence, hot tags, and near falls until the pivotal moment 15 minutes and 37 seconds in. Kevin Owens executed a standard pop-up powerbomb, a move they had executed hundreds of times safely, and Jey's shoulder gave way mid-lift. The sound, a wet tearing noise, was audible even above the cheering crowd, eliciting gasps from seasoned wrestlers at ringside. Jey didn't rise. He didn't attempt to continue. He was done. Roman Reigns' emotional collapse. What followed is now infamous. Roman Reigns abandoned the character he had perfected for nearly a decade, dropping to his knees beside Jey, cradling him, and screaming for medical assistance with raw, unfiltered emotion. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry," he repeated over and over, a stark contrast to the composed, calculating tribal chief the world had come to know. This wasn't a scripted moment. It was a visceral reaction to the failure of the system Roman had trusted, a system that allowed his cousin's career to be jeopardized for profit and storyline continuity. Sources close to WWE confirm that Roman had been fighting management for months, pleading for Jey's removal from matches and adherence to proper medical protocols. Every time he was overruled. "The storyline isn't finished," he was told. "We need Jey healthy enough to work." And so, with the medical team's intervention circumvented by creative demands, Jey continued to wrestle, each match further compromising his shoulder. Behind the scenes, the corporate response. In the 24 hours following the incident, WWE's priorities were immediately clear. Calls were made, not to doctors or specialists, but to PR firms and legal teams. Crisis management superseded medical care. By 3 a.m., an official statement was issued. Jey Uso suffered a shoulder injury during Monday Night Raw and is receiving medical attention. Noticeably absent. Any acknowledgement of the severity of the injury, the ignored medical advice, or the months of worsening pain that led to this breakdown. The leaked medical documents painted a damning picture. From April 2023 onward, multiple orthopedic specialists recommended immediate surgery, yet WWE repeatedly overruled these directives in favor of cortisone injections and temporary fixes. Jey wrestled in 47 matches over 8 months, with medical staff documenting deterioration in 23 of them. Permanent joint damage and career-threatening complications were risked knowingly, all for the sake of storyline progression and financial gain. Wrestling's human cost. This incident has sparked a larger conversation about the ethics of professional wrestling and the systemic risks faced by performers. Veteran wrestlers like Mick Foley and CM Punk have publicly criticized WWE's practices, highlighting a culture where creative priorities routinely overshadow athlete safety. John Cena, one of WWE's most iconic figures, publicly declared, "They all deserve better," emphasizing the human cost behind the scripted spectacle. Roman's reaction has further escalated the crisis. Refusing to work until WWE reforms its medical protocols, he is challenging the very framework of the company. His demands include adherence to certified orthopedic recommendations, independent medical oversight, guaranteed career-ending injury insurance, transparent injury reporting, and lifelong care for Jey. This isn't a negotiation for storyline advantage. It's a moral and legal reckoning that could reshape the industry. The industry-wide implications. The ripple effects extend far beyond WWE. AEW and other wrestling promotions are now under scrutiny regarding their injury protocols. Athletic commissions are exploring whether wrestling requires the same medical oversight as combat sports like MMA and boxing. The financial stakes are enormous. WWE's stock has dropped 12% since news of Roman's absence, equating to roughly $340 million in lost market value. The legal ramifications are potentially even greater, with Roman's evidence suggesting patterns of intentional misconduct rather than simple negligence, a distinction with far-reaching financial and ethical consequences. Personal and psychological fallout. Beyond corporate repercussions, the human toll is immense. Roman feels a profound sense of failure and guilt, believing he was supposed to protect Jey and failed. Jey himself is grappling with self-blame, tormented by the idea that he should have spoken up sooner about his pain. The psychological impact of this event may rival the physical, as both wrestlers confront the emotional weight of betrayal, injury, and systemic negligence. A moment that changed wrestling forever. The moment on December 18th, the raw human collapse of Roman Reigns in the ring, symbolizes a tectonic shift in professional wrestling. It exposed the human cost of treating athletes as disposable commodities and highlighted systemic failings in medical oversight. It sparked industry-wide scrutiny, public debate, and calls for sweeping reforms. For fans, it blurred the line between scripted entertainment and stark reality. For the wrestlers, it was a painful awakening to the fragility of their careers.